Welcome back to the Wood Pastelist. I'm Pastelist Avon Waters, and today I'm going to show you how to save studio space. If you're using tripod type easels or easels that are on stands, you always lose 2 or 3 feet away from a wall. I'm going to show you how I solved that problem and saved that square footage. Anything you can do to save space is important. A lot of artists work in small rooms, extra rooms, sometimes almost large closets. Hopefully this gives you an idea how you can take a look at your easel and think out of the box and maybe come up with a way to save some space. My new space echoes. The easel I'm working with, unfortunately, is not wood, it's metal, so it's a little noisy. But bear with the sound and maybe you'll get an idea of how to save some space in your studio too. This is my new studio space. The sound may be a little bad, a little echoey today because I don't have much in it yet. But oftentimes when you build a new studio or you rent a new space like I have, you get an option to start over. You get an option to do some things differently. If you've been watching my videos, you've seen me use these aluminum easels. They are all aluminum and they are stand-right 500s. As you can see, there's a lot of space behind that easel. So if you have limited space, mounting an easel to the wall is going to get you at least 3 feet closer. And if you have open studios, which I'm intending with this new space to do, then the easel can become easily a place where you display either what you're working on currently. These stand-rights are all aluminum, as you can see. It's the classic easel made in the USA, and it is number 500. There may be another version where this is longer. If I remember right, there's one version that probably has a different model number, but it has about another foot to 14 inches more length or height. Unless you get the display model, this is all the wider that the upper support is. And the lower support folds in like this, and they just use a thumb nut and a T-bolt. You just loosen the thumb nut and the T-bolt and you can make this horizontal. And this is about, 15 to 18 inches. The third leg, you loosen this bolt and the third leg slides out. And you get it at whatever angle you want it. But again, if you're doing pastel, you want this to be a steep angle where the top is facing out. The top is facing out a little more like this, and in order to do that, you have to weight the leg down. I had investigated some of these easels that mount on the wall, and there's a number of manufacturers that do that, but the problem was they're very, very costly, and I thought, well, why not use one of my easels or build something out of wood and put T-channels in? Rockler, if any of you are woodworkers, you could mount a piece of wood on the wall, put a channel, an aluminum channel in there, put their T-squares in, make a cross piece really quick if you're handy woodworking, and you would have a wall-mounted easel. And I got to thinking, well, what if I mount this third leg on the wall? Well, as you can see, I can't get that third leg very far out. So then I thought, well, what if I just take the third leg off, and if I just mount this to the wall? Now, I'm explaining the stand-right easel, but I looked at my other easels after I started exploring this, and my wooden easels, any easel you can mount to the wall if you just figure out what you need. But today I'm going to show you the stand-right, and some of the same principles would apply if you had a wooden easel, but you might not need to do some of the things that I have to do to protect the aluminum on this. Then a bright idea occurred to me. What if I turn this upside down? It's the leg that gives me the tilt. So if the leg was mounted on the wall, I could tilt this easel in and out by using the mechanism that already exists. As a pastelist, I could put it flush to the wall, or I could just use this mechanism and tighten up the screw top, and this thing would tilt automatically out as I need it so the dust falls into the tray or onto the floor where it can be swept up. So this is the storage position that you would travel with, but by just pulling this out, and if I mount that to the wall, I can pull this in and out. I'm just using simple household tools don't need this, but I had one handy. This is a stud finder. If you don't know where your studs are, you can tap on the wall with a hammer, and just by the sound, you'll find where your studs are. I bought a piece of wood. I could mount that aluminum stander right to the wall and hide the screws, but I wanted this because that screw that holds that third leg, I would have trouble accessing that to tilt it in and out. So this is going to give me a little bit more space to get in there to access that third leg to tighten it down. So that these screws will go in. If you're doing this on concrete or masonry walls, you would have to use some different tools, but you can look that up on how to mount things to masonry walls. Basically, you're putting a plastic insert in, then the screws go in and spread that insert out, and the friction is what holds it against the cement or other material. I'm using 3-inch screws because I've got about 3/4 of an inch on my wood. Then I've got another 3/4 on the aluminum. Then I've got 5/8 drywall to go through. So ultimately, I'm only going to end up with about that much of this screw into the wood, which will be enough because I'm not mounting, canvases aren't that heavy, especially if I'm doing pastels. This isn't a woodworking channel, but you want your bit to definitely be smaller than. You should be able to put the bit in front of the screw and still see the teeth on the screw. If you can't see the teeth, then you'll create a hole that's too big and the little teeth of the screw won't have anything to attach to. This is a stud finder. Again, you don't need stud finders. If you just tap the wall with a hammer, you'll hear the difference between where it's hollow and where a stud is. My first chore, I squeeze a little button and I run it across. Watch how it squeaks. This is supposed to be the edge. Then I come in from the other side and it should squeak to the other side. So somewhere between, it's pretty safe to say that somewhere between where it squeaked on this side and where it squeaked on this side, these things aren't perfect, but I bet I could drill a hole right there and be pretty safe to find the stud between those two signifiers. You do both sides and you'll find the stud. But what I'm going to do now is that center spot, I'm going to put the edge of my level there, and when I get the little bubble between these two marks, as I swing the bottom this way, the bubble disappears. I swing the bubble this way, it disappears. The idea of the level is you get it between those two marks, and then we can draw a vertical line, and if we line up our piece of wood or our easel that we're going to screw onto there, we should be then put the edge of the wood or something here, and you come in and you can put your screws in here. If I drew this line right here and I put my easel or my piece of wood up there, we wouldn't know whether we were straight or not. So you put it off to the side so that you can line the edge of the wood up and still be able to screw into the center. I've put my trusty little drill bit in. I've made sure that it's not larger than the teeth on the screws I'm using. My goal here is not to split this. If this was part of my wooden easel, instead of me using an aluminum easel, then I wouldn't want to split that wood. So this is why we are really concerned about drilling this, not so much getting all the way through the drywall. The drywall is very soft. It's like, once you get through the paper, it's like a pastel stick, a white chalk pastel stick. So we're not concerned about splitting the drywall. We're concerned about either splitting your easel, or in this case, the piece of wood that I want my aluminum easel to be too. Here's where I think the center of the stud is. So when I put the wood on there and line the wood up with this, as long as I drill in the center of my piece of wood, I should be hitting that stud. I want to line it up with the line So there we are. I'm going to the center and I'm drilling my first hole. So we just put that in there, and the key again, you can see that the drill was smaller than the diameter of the screw. But I'll finish drilling that in. I've decided just to put 2 screws on this because I am going to be using these long screws to go through my aluminum with those washers. I didn't put the washers on here because the washers are to protect and keep the aluminum from collapsing. You'll see that in a minute. Now, if I was an oil painter, all I'd have to do is drill a hole through here and put a thin screw directly into the wood. But I'm wanting to see if I can get this to tilt. As an oil painter, we would just be straight up and down. We'd be straight up and down and be able to move things. Being a pastelist and wanting to be able to slide that, wanting to have that access to move this out and tilt it is making this more complicated than if I was an acrylic or an oil painter who just needed a vertical surface. I'm going to have difficulties getting my drill in here, and it would be awkward. So I need to get this separated from this in order to be drilling properly. So I'm just going to take this rivet out. I'm not too concerned because this is just an aluminum rivet. I'll drill this out, and I actually then can reassemble this with a thin bolt and a wing nut. And actually it's going to give me more control because I'll have a wing nut on that end, and I'll have a wing nut here, so I can actually stabilize this angle that I decide to use it at better. So this is actually, if you ever find one of these and you don't mount it to the wall and you need more stability, you could do this very same thing and put an additional wing nut there to give even more tightening ability for that third leg. I put in a larger drill bit because this one will allow my wood screw to go through there. So I'm just going to enlarge this hole. And now my screw will fit through there, and I'm going to put the washer on it. I put the fender washer on the wood screw, so I'll have a bigger surface here hitting this, and I won't collapse. You could still collapse this aluminum if you try to tighten this down too much. But I'm going to put that through there and now just attach it to the piece of wood. Line that up. And again, the goal here is just to tighten this up, not get it so tight that it crushes this aluminum extrusion. Look at that puppy, it's on there. This is the hinged part, and this is the little T-bolt. I've got to thread my aluminum guide through there. This is also the wing nut that is hard to get to. This is why I needed to be able to get my hand. If this was up against the wall, then I wouldn't be able to, I'd only have this much space. I needed to get a little more space for my big fat hand. You got small hands, you might not even need this. And again, your easel might be different if it's a wooden easel, but I think you're getting the concept. Look at that, huh? Now I can just raise this up. When it's all the way down in here, I can tilt that way out. If I raise the easel up to where the hinge part is here, look at that angle. Now, unless I wanted to be like pretending I was doing the Sistine Chapel, I would never need it at that angle. So you don't need to have it all the way up to the end. So I slide it down in here, and look, I still have plenty. I'm getting, at the end of my easel, this is about halfway through and I'm 2 inches away. That's plenty of space to have the dust fall off rather than onto it. Right now I'm just going to put the rivet back so we can test this, and then later I'll stick a threaded bolt through there with a wing nut and we'll be able to tighten it down. Fingers crossed. The moment of truth. Did I just destroy a $100, $150 easel, or did I save $850 by using something I already had? So a slight angle like that gives me about 1 inch out. I could even go to 3/4 of an inch and have plenty from top to bottom on this. I'm going to tighten this one bolt down here, this wing nut, and we should be ready to put the cross pieces on. And now I just feed my supports back into the channel. Et voila! I don't speak French, so you guys tell me whether I said that right. I can adjust this. I'll show you a side angle, and you'll see how that's tilted at a nice angle. I still have to put that threaded screw in there, and it's a little floppy right there because I don't have that tightened down, but the thumb bolt will give me that tightening that I need there. You can see the distance here, you can see the angle, the distance between here and here and here and here. This is a couple inches further out. The pastel dust will fall down. And now you see I have saved 3 feet of space from just using a stand easel, and I've got a wall easel. I think I'm going to put another one beside it so that when I do large oil paintings, I can do something that's probably 4x6 or 5x6 pretty easy. Hopefully you can save some space with that idea, or look at your wooden easels and see where you can take it apart and mount it to the wall. If you are not a pastelist and you need that special little tilt that lets the pastel dust fall off of the picture you're working on, your job is a whole lot easier than us that need that little bit of tilt. We'll have another episode for you next week. So take care, everybody. Happy painting.